I'm Pru Ashby with the Tech City organization. And I'm going to present to you for a short while today on tech clusters linking up to what's going on in Dubai and what's going on in London. So I work for the Tech City UK organization. The Tech City is the fastest growing tech cluster in Europe. It's a very tight cluster of tech companies in the east of London. And it developed organically over a number of years. And then about 2 years ago, the UK government decided that they noticed there was something going on in this part of London, and they decided to actually shine a light on this cluster and support it. And what I'm going to tell you today is what this cluster is, how we are supporting innovation in London, and what progress we've made and lessons learned. So firstly, I'm going to just show you a short video. So basically, as I said, the cluster grew organically for since about 2006, 2007 in the Shoreditch part of London, which is just off the city of London, the financial district. And then 2 years ago, the government decided to shine a light on it and support the companies in the area. So I work for the Tech City organization, and my role is to promote the area around the world in places like this, and give the companies the opportunities to access markets, new markets for themselves. Also, my role is to bring in companies from overseas. So an important lesson learned about development of a cluster is to bring in some core companies that can support that cluster and help you promote it. So what the UK government did was they took a few advisors out to Silicon Valley and met with people like Eric Schmidt of Google and said, what can we do and how can you support us to grow our cluster in London? And what happened as a result of those conversations is that Google took on a 7-story building in the Tech City part of London. And it's not for Google staff, it's actually all about startups. So this building has about 2 or 3 actual Google staff there, but it has 100 startups based in this one building. And what that building has actually become is the beating heart of the area. You register for your membership, and it's called Campus, www.campuslondon.com. You register for membership, you can go in and plug your laptop in downstairs in the cafe for free. Or you can take space in one of the co-working spaces in the building, like Tech Hub, and pay as little as £275 a month for your desk. Or you can join some of the membership organizations and go to the numerous events, and there's about 40 events a month that take place in the campus. And if you want to actually host an event yourself, it's free to take the space. So what they've actually done is inspired this whole generation of these startups to actually firstly become entrepreneurs themselves and actually get the support from the community around them. Other companies that have joined the cluster include Yammer from the US, who started with 3 people and are now growing to 150 in the area. And then there's local companies like Mind Candy, which produce the very well-known Moshi Monsters game, which if you've got children, you probably hate it, because it takes up a lot of the children's time. But it's been very successful as a homegrown company from this part of London. So as well as supporting these companies and helping them, we also help them try and find investment. So you've just had a session all about angel investment. Now, what we recognized in London was that we do have a large number of high net worth individuals from the financial centre in London. So what we've done is actually brought some of these high net worth individuals together and educated them in how to invest in technology companies over a series of events. And then what we did is we got startups together to actually pitch to these high net worths. But in order to really make it work, what the government did was initiate tax breaks that were very, very favourable to angel investment, levels of investment. So, for example, the first 3 presentation sessions that took place, 3 out of the 9 startups that pitched got investment from the angels in the room at those events, which I think just shows how important and successful that they were. The other thing is we're trying to encourage talent. So we're working with universities to actually get involved. And for example, we created a scheme called Entrepreneur First, where we actually go round to the top universities in the UK and target the top graduates and nurture them and support them in a program called Entrepreneur First to build their own businesses and become entrepreneurs, rather than going and joining a law firm or an investment bank. And what happened as a result of that is we've just finished the first year of working with these young entrepreneurs. And out of the group of 20 or so of these young graduates, their companies they've created have a net value of £17 million. So it's been a very, very successful program. Also, we've supported the encouragement of co-working spaces and accelerator programs. So, for example, Techstars, which is a very well-known accelerator program from the US, we encourage them, and they've come in and merged with a local accelerator program. And they've just done their first round of applications, and they had 1,300 applications for 10 places on this program, which just shows the appetite that there is for these startups and entrepreneurs to actually get their companies going. And out of the 10 companies they selected to actually be part of the program, 5 are from the UK, but 5 are from Europe and other places in the world. So we're actually about attracting people who want to build their businesses to the UK, which leads me on to the entrepreneurs visa. So the UK government also actually created something called the entrepreneurs visa, which if you've got a set amount of investment and you've got a great business idea, we will give you a visa so you can come and set up and grow your company in the UK. Also, as well as companies like Google, we've actually been approached by a lot of other big corporates that actually want to get involved in what's going on in tech, and I'm sure you'll find this in your regions as well. So they don't want to be the next corporate that actually, like a Kodak, that unfortunately didn't innovate enough, and they want to tap into the innovation. So companies like Unilever are sponsoring co-working spaces. You've got Barclays Bank that's actually got involved in terms of sponsoring a collaboration space. And what they've actually, interestingly, what's actually come up as a result is it's not just about the corporate seeing what's actually happening. The startups are getting access to the supply chains of these corporates. So now some of the startups in that space are now on the preferred supplier list for Barclays, which, as you can imagine, if these startups actually win big contracts with some of those big corporates, that could set them well on their way for the future. The other important thing about the cluster in London is infrastructure. So we recently opened the East London line, which is a new train line that goes from north to South London. And that made access for employees and people visiting a lot easier. Crossrail is kicking in 2 years, which will mean you'll be able to travel all the way across London in less than 40 minutes to get to Heathrow and wherever else else you need to go, which will also really improve communications and connections. And finally, really the important thing about this cluster is that it's a really, really close proximity of people and businesses trying to make their way and build themselves. So the power of those water cooler moments, or those serendipitous moments that we talk about, where you bump into someone and then the next week you bump into someone else and then they say, oh, I can help you because I just met someone last week. And it's a very, very openly and collaborative environment. So you can be working next to someone who's solved a problem 6 months previous that you're grappling with. And that whole sort of very much sort of, let's talk it through, let's work through it, let's see who can help and support us, is very much something that's really, really made a huge difference to the area. So finally, I just want to touch on in terms of progress. So what have we actually achieved here? Well, about 2 years ago, there were 200 startups in the area, and now there's about 1,300, 1,500. So firstly, we've achieved a huge uptake in the number of startups. There's about 30 co-working spaces and many, many accelerator programs. 48,000 tech-related jobs have been created across London. We've now started to establish vertical tech clusters. So we've now got technology for the financial services industry. So we've got a fintech incubator. We've got technology for the advertising industry, a technology for advertising, media, and communications. We've got an EdTech incubator, technology for the education industry. So and also smart cities and green tech. So we're starting to actually see sub-clusters develop. So lessons learned would be, look at what your strengths are in your cities and where you're based. Look at what the existing strengths that you have, and then actually leverage the technology that are based on those strengths. So, for example, in London, we knew that our financial services sector was strong. So we knew that technology related to the financial services sector could have huge potential. We knew our advertising and creative sector was strong. And so we've looked at that. We know retail is strong. And also, the other part of it is the grow-on space. So it's all very well having all this support for startups, but what about when they get to that size where they need to really grow and they need help in terms of that next level of investment, the million, the 2 million, the 5 million. We need to support them when they get to those higher levels. So what we've done is we've created a Future 50 program, which is basically to target 50 companies that we think could make it globally in terms of tech, and support them through that. We've also worked with the London Stock Exchange to actually look at how they can list easier on the IPO when they get to that stage on the London Stock Exchange. We've encouraged certain tax breaks in terms of capital gains tax relief when you come to sell your business. We've increased the R&D tax credits, so when you're doing research and development, you can get better tax benefits. And the government itself has also said that they are going to purchase 25% of their IT systems from small, medium enterprise. So they are trying to set an example on what companies should be doing. So recently, I've been coming to Dubai in the last 10 years quite a number of times. And I'm very excited about the opportunities for actually London as a regional hub in Europe can work with Dubai as a regional hub here. We recently signed an MOU between Tech City and TCOM that runs 9 of the free zones here, including Internet City. And we're very excited to do further collaborations with organizations in this area. So all I wanted to say really was it's a pleasure to be here, and I just hope it's been interesting to hear some of the lessons learned and the initiatives that we've done for our tech cluster in London. Thank you very much. Are there any questions? Yeah. Okay.
Hi, what would be the process for this if people want to find out more about this, and also if some like an entrepreneur would go through this, what is the cycle that will go through for after applying? Like if I apply and I get accepted, how would this work out?
Well, firstly, if you want to come and be an entrepreneur in Tech City, you don't need to necessarily go through an acceptance process. Well, to get the entrepreneur's visa, you need to have a certain level of investment in your business and a business plan. If you are setting up a subsidiary, so your head office is here, you're setting up a subsidiary in the UK, then all the services are free in terms of what I would do to support your business. So I would streamline the process in terms of legal, accounting, banking, finding office space, connections, networks, brand building, promotion, recruitment, and all that sort of process that you would need to get your business going. And for example, I've worked with companies from the States. I've helped Twitter set up their London office, for example, and made the process a lot less painful for them. I helped Hootsuite set up their London office, and they told me that I saved them 6 months in terms of actually getting their business going and building it. So in terms of, there's two different processes. One, if you're applying for the entrepreneur's visa, there's an application process. But if you want to set up a subsidiary of your business, then it's basically, we will help you through every step of the way. If you want to actually apply for one of the accelerator programs in London, of which there are many, then there is the application process that you would go through to do that. And there's several of those accelerator programs that I can let you know about after this session that you could apply for. We're also seeing, what I didn't say in my presentation, as well as software, we're actually seeing moves away from just software as well. And we've got the world's largest 3D printing showroom store, and we're seeing a lot of moves towards the hardware related businesses and not just software as well. So if your business is related to, or your ideas are related to that, we'd be very open to further discussions.